Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the Casual Fan here to talk about the first presidential debate. I gotta say, it was definitely entertaining to watch, man. I mean, I'm watching it, and first of all, if you're over 21, I suggest that for the next debate you play the drinking game, and every time Trump says many or tremendous or bigly, you must take a sip. By the way, what the fuck is bigly? All right, what the fuck is bigly? Is that a word? I don't think it's a word. But anyway, second of all, I found it a little funny that Trump, being the Republican nominee, was sporting a blue tie, while Clinton, being the Democratic nominee, she was sporting a red outfit. Even though this is not like, it's not like this has never happened before. Where the nominee was sporting like the opposite colors, but I found this a little bit symbolic in this case because you can argue that Trump was actually the most liberal Republican to run in like the Republican primaries, whereas Hillary Clinton, compared to her biggest rival Bernie Sanders, she was a lot more conservative compared to Bernie Sanders in his views. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that I just wanted to make note of that. But anyway, let's talk about the actual debate. All right. So the first third of the debate, if I remember correctly, they were talking about creating and maintaining jobs. Hillary gave a vague description of her plan, nothing that really stood out. She did talk about investing in the youth, renewable energy, investing in small businesses, stuff like that. Again, nothing that really stood out, but she also did talk about, paid leaves, which is good. But nothing that really, catches the eye. I did like she did talk about increasing the minimum wage, which is something I actually personally don't agree with, but, to each their own. Anyway, let me talk about Trump. Trump, on the other hand, whether you like him or not, you got to admit that he's definitely a lot easier to listen to because he doesn't sound like a fucking robot when he speaks. He doesn't sound like he's reading off a teleprompter. So I gave the first segment to Trump because Trump touched on something that a lot of people were hoping that was going to be touched on. He actually talked about the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. If you don't know what that is, it's pretty much a large outsourcing deal, almost like NAFTA. Only some people are claiming that it's worse. Some people are claiming that it's almost as bad. It's in my opinion, from what I've heard and from what I've read about it, it's bad. I especially don't like the fact that corporations can apparently sue our government now because of the TPP. That's something I find that to be a big no-no. But this is something that the Obama administration is pushing for, and something that Hillary Clinton is on record for calling the gold standard of trade agreements. So I got a clip. Hopefully I'll either insert this in the video or leave it in the description down below. But you guys should check that out. But I gave that first.
So it's fair to say that our economies are entwined, and we need to keep upping our game, both bilaterally and with partners across the region through agreements like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP. Australia is a critical partner. This TPP sets the gold standard in trade agreements.
However, let's see. If I were Hillary Clinton, what I would have done differently is I would have attacked Trump's credibility in this portion of the segment, or in this section of the debate. Sorry, because when it comes to Trump's position on trade deals, Trump's shit stinks too, okay? Because Trump also outsources his deals as well. He benefits from the quote-unquote disastrous trade deals known as NAFTA, okay? I'll find, I can't remember which talk show he was on where he was pretty much exposed, but I'll find it on YouTube and I'll leave a description. But pretty much, he has his ties made in China. He has different products of his made in other countries as well. So you can't really talk. It just seems very disingenuous when you're accusing Hillary Clinton for voting for these little quote unquote disastrous trade deals, but you, on the other hand, you have your companies making their products in other countries as well. So you can shut the fuck up with that.
It's ties, shirts, cufflinks, everything sold at Macy's, and they're doing great. #1 selling tie anywhere in the world.
#1 selling tie anywhere in the world. You wouldn't wear that shirt?
We also have them in white and beautiful white.
Where are the shirts made? Bangladesh.
Well, it's good.
Okay.
We employ people in Bangladesh.
Ties? Where are the ties
they
made?
Have to work
These are beautiful ties.
They are great ties.
The ties are made in where? China? China. Ties are made in China.
course, Hillary Clinton did not mention that, so I had you just have to give that section or segment to Trump. All right. Anyway, next segment. Let's see where else. Okay, so the next segment I thought was kind of close because Clinton kicked it up a notch. It seemed like she was kind of getting on her stride when she started sounding off on all the reasons she believed that Trump wouldn't release his tax returns. However, Trump did manage to wiggle out the heat with his typical but effective Trump-like diversion tactic where he goes out on the offensive and puts attention back on his opponent. In this case, it was by proposing a deal to release the tax returns if Clinton released her infamous emails. You see, even though Trump may be, even though Hillary Clinton may be correct on, how to put it, she may be correct on all the reasons as to why Trump doesn't want to release his tax returns. I personally feel that, it's just very fucked up that Clinton can still run for president after committing to something that could get an ordinary person put behind bars. That's fucked up to me, and I'm sure Chelsea Manning, I'm sure she would agree. So I ended up giving this segment to Donald Trump. All right. Now, the next segment was about like race relations, and it almost went to Hillary Clinton by default. All right, Hillary. The minute that Trump proposed the whole stop and frisk action, I'm sure that many people that were listening turned off their ears to that. Though you gotta give the guy some credit for being audacious enough to suggest this during the height of the people's distrust towards the police this year. But even if this idea worked in New York, I personally would much rather have my constitutional rights, not be violated. So yeah, this almost went to Hillary Clinton almost by default, just because Trump's suggestion was just so ludicrous that you just can't listen to him after that. You just can't. And I also like the fact that that Hillary Clinton mentioned that she wasn't very specific. Again, she wasn't very specific here at all, but she at least acknowledged the fact that there needs to be trust reestablished between the people and law enforcement. So I gave that segment to Hillary Clinton. Let's see. What else? Get a sip of some water. That's what else. All right. Sorry about that. But anyway, let's see. We just talked about race relations. What happened after that? I got some notes. They're not very organized, but I got some notes. Okay, so they ended up talking about some more stuff like cyber terrorism and all that jazz. But to be honest, it was a long debate, so the longer it went on, the harder time I had paying attention because it was kind of late. But I did make a few more highlights, like the part where Trump randomly blames Hillary and the Obama administration for creating ISIS. I can't remember exactly which segment this was, but Trump did have a point there. Because of America's intervention in the Middle East, we did form a vacuum, and where a superpower could just come into command, and that in this case it was ISIS. However, my thing is, and Hillary correctly attacked Trump on this part, but the reality is this, okay? Trump is also guilty. He's on record for supporting the intervention in the Middle East. He supported the invasion in Iraq, and he also was for the invasion in the intervention in Libya. So his shit stinks in that area too. I don't want to hear nothing about how he's accusing Obama for shit, because when around the time when this is relevant, Trump gave his opinion, and he also said that he's for, I think we should, I guess so. I think we should go in Libya and, do whatever. So I'm going to find a link, and I'm going to be posting it on either the description or insert it here.
Really don't know the enemy.
I know, they're skulking around somewhere, and you just feel like you're a sitting duck.
But we have an idea who the enemy is, and a lot of times the politicians don't want to tell you that.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
People are asking me, what do I think of Libya and its so-called newfound freedom? The fact is, what we should have done is we should have asked the rebels when they came to us, and they came to us. They were being routed by Gaddafi. They were being decimated. We should have said, we'll help you, but we want 50% of your oil. They would have absolutely said, okay, 100%. In fact, they would have said, how about 75%? So they came to us. They were nothing. They were gone. The war was over. He was taking over. Then all of a sudden, we go in through NATO, which is funded by us largely, and which is largely our weapons and our guys. We go in and absolutely decimate this guy. They take over, and now you ask for oil? You know what they're going to do? The same thing that OPEC does. They're going to rip us off like you've never seen before. They're going to charge us so much. Our economy is broke. Our country is broke. We're spending billions and billions on the so-called rebels that aren't even our friends. You watch what happens. They'll turn against us as soon as they have somebody else like Iran. And isn't it sad? We could have had anything we wanted. We could have had 50% of those oil fields. You know, in the old days, when you had a war, it's to the victor belong the spoils. We have wars with Iraq, with Afghanistan. We spend trillions of dollars. We get nothing, absolutely nothing. And those countries are falling apart. The day we leave, it's over. So we could have had something special. When the so-called rebels came to us, we should have said, fellas, we're going to help you. We want 50% of your oil. They would have said, thank you very much. We have a deal. Write it down. Sign it. We have a deal. We would have been a rich nation again. They have tremendous oil reserves in Libya. Instead, we help. We get nothing. We're very, very foolishly led. Our leaders, unfortunately, are stupid.
But anyway, let me... one last highlight for me at the end was when Trump, I think he was asked if he was sexist or something like that, and he goes off on this little political correct tangent about, but Hillary, she's also, she's making these mean advertisements, stuff like that, shit that wasn't really relevant to the question. I don't know what was being asked, but to his credit, though, I don't think that Trump is necessarily the way I see it is like this. I feel that Trump would pretty much shut down every single, sexism question ever if he just pointed at all the men that he was disrespectful to during the GOP primaries. So, to his credit, I believe that, he should, if he were just smart enough to mention that, he'd probably be able to, squeak by through those kind of these feminist questions or anything like that. But overall, thanks to Trump, this was a pretty entertaining presidential debate. I actually think if you look solely on the debate without doing any form of fact-checking, you can make the argument that Trump definitely won the debate. And in fact, I believe that Trump won the debate, and I did some fact-checking. However, I'm not going to be voting for Trump. I think he's really ridiculous sometimes. And Hillary Clinton made a very good point. This is not someone that you want to trust with the nuclear codes, okay? I feel like, at any time Trump, he's a little too thin-skinned, and there's so many reasons out there as to why, I am not going to be supporting Trump or voting for Trump when I'm not going to be voting for him in November. I'm just not. I'm probably going to be voting for Clinton, even though I don't like Clinton either. I definitely do think she's the lesser of two evils. And so, let me know what you guys think. This is my my unbiased opinion on the presidential debate that took place yesterday. And I'll be inserting clips here and there, or I'll put it in the description. And you guys will pretty much you can see it and you can give your own thoughts on it. But anyway, take it easy, y'all.